Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Today we've got a very special guest coming to us all the way from Russia, and that's Roman, the CMO of Playkey. Welcome to the channel, Roman.
Yeah, hello guys. Glad to be here.
Now, Playkey is a gaming-based, cloud-based gaming project that I covered nearly 2 years ago now, I think, and this was so exciting to me. And there's been a lot of progress happening in this industry in general, and we're going to talk about Google and Nvidia and all the other big companies that are diving into the cloud-based gaming space. But what you are doing is essentially letting anyone play these really high-end games from any old computer. So for people that haven't followed this project closely, do you want to talk about how it all started and where you're up to now?
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, you already described the core meaning of our project. Uh, we brought the audience of computer games and allow players with low-end devices to jump in and to get AAA games in the high quality on the old devices. So it can be PC, it can be laptop, Windows based, or it can be Mac based device. And actually, technically, we can stream on mobile devices. So this direction of technology isn't in the first focus for us at the moment. So actually, it's easy for player to launch the game. It's a few clicks. He can just choose the game on our site. Then he has to log in into game launcher. I mean, it can be Steam, it can be Uplay, it can be Origin, etc. And that's all actually. And yeah, it has been our client application pre-installed, but only one time. And yeah, that's all. He receives the game.
So the simplest way I can explain this to people at home is that rather than having your machine and your computer do all the hard work that really high-end games require, somebody else has a good machine, hopefully nearby you, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about how this works technically. And then your screen is just acting as the screen as you play the game. So this is very exciting stuff. And what are the limitations with this? So how far away do I need to have the nearest person with the good computer, the server? And are we going for hopefully a lot of individuals with good computers? Or I know you guys are looking to roll out big servers as well.
Well, there are different approach. Actually, in our experience, the comfort distance to the gaming server is about 2,000 kilometers. If if server is a bit far away, I mean more than 2,000, 4,000 kilometers, uh, there can be latency issues. You still could get okay experience with, for example, strategy games, maybe with some role playing games, but if the server is far away, it will be hard to play in shooters, for example,
Yeah.
especially in competitive multiplayer shooters where other players will get more opportunity to kill you.
Especially if I'm in Australia where our internet is really bad. And I know you guys have avoided rolling out in Australia for that reason. So, what sort of bandwidth requirements do I need to play, say, GTA 5 on maximum settings, 120 frames per second, and that sort of thing to have the best experience?
Well, actually, we didn't avoid Australia because of inner internet issues. I suppose you have 30 megabits per second is the okay for Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's enough bandwidth. You can use service freely if you have gaming server somewhere around, and this is the main reason why we are still not in Australia. Uh, because it's real logistic challenge to deliver these server clusters all over the world so you could cover every region and cover it well tight enough to have only maximum 2,000 kilometers uh, sphere
Yeah.
around every player. It's not an easy task, and that's why we started development of decentralized platform. And the core idea is that in this platform there will be players, and there will be well, we call them miners. Miners are the users who provide their gaming machines, they rigs, or they well, mining farms for players. So this will really help to solve these tasks with server logistic. Yeah.
And how does this work with copyright? And I know you've already partnered up with Bethesda, who makes some of my favorite games, Fallout and whatnot. So, how does this work with partnerships and copyright?
Well, actually, in our business model, there is no any issues with copyright as far as player should own the game to use it in our service to play it. Uh, when I said that launching the game, player should log in into game launcher. Uh, this is the point where we check if the player has the game. So if there is no game in his, game key in his launcher, the game won't be launched. That's why we don't have any serious copyright issues with publishers as far as actually we just help them to make the audience wider. So we add additional buyers to them because uh, users with weak PC, with low-end PCs, uh, wouldn't buy the game if they couldn't play it, and we allow them to play. But yeah, there is always but. There is one issue. It's not copyright issue, but this issue, make it harder to negotiate with publishers. It is game experience. Publishers are aware about top quality game experience because they suppose that if the game experience is low, is bad, then player will blame the publisher that he made bad game. That's why they very attentively look at the quality of our service, and they should see that the quality is perfect. And our goal is to provide all the necessary conditions for publisher testing that they will get top quality.
Fantastic, fantastic. And you said 30 megabytes is still good enough to have an okay experience. So, what sort of bandwidth do I want to have the best possible experience?
Well, actually, 30 megabits per second is enough for best experience if the server is near you. I mean, no more than 2,000 kilometers. It's really okay.
Wow, that's fantastic. That is a lot
And
lower than what I thought.
yeah, and minimal requirement is about I suppose 15 megabits per second is minimum level. Yeah.
So, what stage is this at? How many people do you have already using this system, and what's the plan for future expansion?
We have about 2 million people who have tried our system, and this number is growing every day. Actually, our goal is to make Playkey fully international game platform. And actually, all our efforts are focused on this scaling. We started back in 2014, I suppose. We launched the first version to public in the end of 2014, and we started from our home market in Russia, and now we are scaling to other countries, and our milestone is to launch the decentralized solution. I suppose that, well, it will allow us to skyrocket with players, with game sessions, etc., with all these metrics.
And do you want to talk about the Playkey token and how that ties into that decentralized system, and we hope it really accelerates the growth and user adoption?
Yeah, actually, Playkey token is the essential part of decentralized platform economy. Launching an ICO, uh, we projected the economy in that way that token will be universal currency, inner currency in the decentralized platform, and players will pay for gaming time. They can pay in tokens directly, or they can pay in ordinary money that will be converted into tokens on the platform, and miners will earn these tokens, and they then sell it on the exchange, etc.
So the main benefits of using this cryptocurrency, if we're in a different country, that obviously cuts out a lot of the fees that you guys would have to otherwise pay for all these small microtransactions of people using their software. So yeah, I guess the question is, how does blockchain technology and the system you've built really improve what you're able to do, maybe compared to other systems or older models?
Well, actually, the main benefit of cryptocurrency as a payment method is, well, internationalization and lower transfer prices. For example, if we use, and we still do it, if we use ordinary payment method, every transaction has its fee
Yeah.
for payment system, and this fee is really unacceptable for small transaction. For example, we made a lot of experiments with tarification per minutes. I mean, if player uses service, for example, 15 minutes, he pays only for 15 minutes. It's really a small amount of money. It's, well, let's say 15 cents, for example. But when you use this model with ordinary payment method, with credit cards, with banks cards, uh, actually the fees kill your economy. Why? Because this transactions have minimal fees.
Yeah.
For example, yeah, it's about, well, some percent, but no less than, for example, $1. So you want to charge 15 cents, and you should pay for this $1, for
Yeah.
example. It's absolutely
Yeah.
unacceptable.
And this is something we talk about on the channel a lot, but I just wanted to drive this message home for people because the token is always very, very important. So, how do you think that is going to be a big advantage for you? And do you want to talk about Google have launched Stadia and GeForce now and all the competitors? Are they direct competition for you, or do you think you have an advantage using this blockchain model?
Yeah, it's a good question. I hear it a lot, especially after Stadia presentation. Uh, there are different periods in the way from, well, from start point when market is only appearing, and to the way where market is already large and, well, major. And now we are at the start point. There is no cloud gaming market, well, for example, as musical market or movie market or ordinary gaming market. Cloud gaming is still in the early stage. And in this point, it's absolutely clear benefit to have such companies like Google, like Sony, like Microsoft, like Amazon, like Verizon, like Nvidia. All these giants will help to deliver the core idea of cloud gaming to the market. When such companies like Playkey, like maybe Shadowblade, like Vortex. When such companies do it alone, it's really slow and really long path because we are rather small, well, comparing with Google, Nvidia, Sony, etc. And our voices are far not so loud. And it's really hard to convince your target audience that cloud gaming is a normal and convenient, comfortable, and really progressive way of consumption gaming content. But when we have Google and other giants on board, their voices are really loud. And when they say, "Hey guys, it's really progressive. Let's try. Cloud gaming is the future." It changed everything. So at the moment, well, we have benefits. Actually, after study presentation, we saw traffic growth about 2 times for several days because only this one presentation uh, blows blowed the interest to the cloud gaming. So yeah, now it's a benefit, but there's always but. I suppose in 2 or 3 years later, when the market is really mature, uh, the competitive fight begins. Yeah, and then we'll see.
And hopefully your point of difference of rewarding the users that are sharing their computing power, that is going to be the big point of difference, I guess, maybe compared to Google, as well as those microtransactions that we spoke about.
Well, actually, it's really the core and maybe the only real advantage we can provide as a small company comparing with such giants as Google. Yeah, Google says they will use the data centers, and they have a lot of data centers all over the world. And for us, it's impossible to provide the same network of data centers for sure.
Yeah.
But if we create and when we launch the platform, which is which is grown by users themselves, it will be a serious advantage. Yep.
The little guy versus the big guy. I'm in there cheering for you guys as well. So, what stage are you at
Yeah.
with this? I was reading that I think the launch is fairly close now in the next few months. The first stages of all this.
Well, actually, we had to move it because we had it in plans for 2018, and we moved it to the end of 2019 because of all this downfall in cryptocurrency market. It's a bit slowed us, but only slowed, not no other difficulties. So yeah, I suppose it will be in the end of 2019, and technically we are moving as we planned. And for example, you could read in our CEO LinkedIn, for example, about our last success in technology of using streaming on the desktop machines. It's essential condition to launch decentralization. When we use servers, I mean, servers in data centers with special video adapters like NVIDIA Grid, it can't be decentralized because ordinary users, can't allow to buy such servers and install it, in the balcony, for example.
Yeah.
No, but we adapted our technology to work with so-called desktop servers. It's ordinary PC you can buy in any shop and construct it and use it at home. And yeah, this is a real progress.
So, decentralized computing is another big industry that's starting to emerge. And so, do you guys have future plans? I read to go into other high demand online applications. as well?
Well, I wouldn't call it plans, but yep, we discussed some ideas internally, and and we see the demand on the market to use cloud computing not only for games but also for some video coding, maybe for designers work with some heavy images, so on and so forth. So technically, yep, we can do it, but for now, we'd like to focus on, well, specific direction and to finish it to some stage. So we could say, yep, we dealt, everything is ready, everything is complete for some stage, and now we can experiment with some other directions.
Yeah, and I think the gaming industry is big enough just to start with that. So, do you want to talk about how big that's grown since you started this in 2014 or beforehand, and all these competitions and Twitch streamers? This space is just becoming so big, and we're actually starting to see a lot of investors talk about this now as well for the first time.
Uh, well, could you repeat the core question? Yeah, the industry is growing, and the question is.
Yeah, the interest is growing, and we're seeing, even Nvidia stock and computing and all this thing has really become popular, I think, for people to talk about. Whereas gaming was a very small little section a few years ago. So I just think it's grown so much, and it must be exciting for you to see how much it is growing.
Well, I wouldn't say that it was well small in 2014. Actually, in 2014, gaming already was a great industry, but for sure it is growing and it will grow, I suppose, for decades because new technologies provide new opportunities. And actually, cloud gaming is not only a way of consuming game content, uh, it can be the way of changing the game content. I don't know yet how exactly, but for example, not long ago, the famous game designer Hideo Kojima, uh, for example, he's creating at the moment Death Stranding game for PS4, and he created also a series of Metal Gear games, Metal Gear Solid
Yeah.
for PS4, and he told that he already has an idea of some specific gameplay for cloud gaming, not only so he sees it not only as a game consumption, but as a new way of game design. And I suppose cloud gaming will really provide some games we couldn't get any other way. So yeah, it will grow and grow fast. So open horizons before us.
Yes, I think the thing that I meant was I'm seeing a lot of big investors for the first time start to talk about investing in the gaming industry, which I just didn't see happen 5 or 10 years ago. So I think it's matured a little bit, the industry recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, any final thoughts? I've thoroughly enjoyed the interview. What are the biggest challenges for you guys? From what it sounds like, that onboarding experience is very friendly and very easy to do. People don't realize that they're using their cryptocurrency in the background, and that's the sort of things that we really look for when we look for projects.
Uh, I suppose that the biggest challenge is not in the onboarding, though it's not so easy to explain how to use it. Well, it sounds easy, but in real life, it's not so. But the biggest problem is still the so-called last mile. So when player supposes he has a wonderful internet, for example, 100 megabits, everything should work fine, but he has no idea that his Wi-Fi router and uh, concrete walls kill this bandwidth, well, badly
Mm,
to 5 to 10 megabits per second.
yeah.
And this is reality. It's often happens that way. And such a player tries our service, receive unplayable games, bad quality, and he decides for himself that it's a bad thing. Cloud gaming doesn't work, and he doesn't want to use it anymore, and so on and so forth. But the real problem is just his specific network problems in his home, and the main difficulty is to somehow indicate this problem and somehow explain to user how to solve it, because technically it's not always possible to solve it on our side. We need some assistance from the end user, and this is still the greatest challenge, I suppose. And this challenge um, is, well, a real a real barrier, not only for our platform, but for every player in the cloud gaming market, including Google, Sony, Amazon, and other giants. Yeah.
And do you think 5G technology will change that, and there'll be a next generation of modems and all that sort of thing? Or
Uh, it will definitely help, uh, but I still not sure that it will solve clearly the problem, the last mile problem,
yeah,
because, well, 5G coverage should evolve a few years or maybe dozens of years to become, well, wide enough to solve this problem for every player.
fantastic. I've really enjoyed the interview today, Roman. So thanks for joining us all the way from Russia. Any
Thank
final
you.
thoughts for people at home?
Play games.
I'll put all the
It's great
links in the
fun.
description below for everyone to check out Playkey as well. So thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.